When someone who is a critical Bible scholar like Dan McClellan, but I don't want to bring him up in this post because it isn't really about him. But when someone like him talks about academic consensus, he's talking about consensus among critical Bible scholars. And the difference between critical Bible scholars and non-critical Bible scholars is their approach to their translation. And let me give you sort of what I would say as an example. We have a word through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H, and that can mean I am going through a gate to the other side, or it can mean, hey, I'm through with this thing. They're very different meanings. And let's say there is a word somewhere in the New Testament, and that word is translated a certain way in 85 of its other appearances in the New Testament. That word could have a different meaning, but it's not used in that alternate way anywhere else in the New Testament. A critical biblical scholar who looks at the Bible and says to him or herself, this is just paper with markings on it. I will look at what is there and go with the probabilities of what it means. So that person puts that common translation for that word in that place, and as a result, that passage contradicts other things in the Bible, and therefore the critical scholar says, see, the Bible is full of errors. A non-critical scholar will look at that and say, well, that word is generally used, most often used, for this meaning, but it could have this other meaning. At that time, there was this other meaning for that word, and if we put that meaning into that spot, we have something that makes sense, something that is coherent with other things that are said in the Bible about that topic. The critical scholar looks at the non-critical scholar and says, aha, you have used your bias to decide what that word means. So then we look at the critical scholar's use of the word bias for the non-critical scholar. I see it like a puzzle. Let's say the Bible is a big puzzle, and here's a piece that the critical scholar says should go in this place, but it doesn't fit. But the critical scholar pounds on it and makes it fit in that place. And the puzzle doesn't look right because the critical scholar has forced that piece into that spot. The non-critical scholar looks at that and says, oh, that doesn't fit there. I think I'm going to use this piece, see if that fits. Ah, that fits, and now the puzzle makes sense. It's not that non-critical scholars aren't scholars. Like the New International Version of the Bible has been translated by over 100 non-critical scholars who also have PhDs and read Greek and Hebrew and know what they're talking about. So academic consensus with a critical scholar means consensus among other critical scholars. But they're not the only scholars. That's the point.